Next up we have Thor the Dark World. Okay, so this of the three Avengers follow-ups, I think, is the one that follows most from Avengers.
Yeah. It seems to be the one that gets the most crap from a lot of people,
Yeah,
which I think is
of the Phase 2 movies.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily fair because I like this movie.
Yeah. I think
it's a good Thor movie. It's a good use of the whole cast and all the other elements from this universe. Definitely a good use of bringing Loki back in there.
Yeah.
Because we gotta have Loki.
One of the biggest problem with the movie is that Malekith is kind of
he's kind of a weak sauce villain.
Yeah.
And they could have made him. They could have made him an effective villain, but he's basically just I'm going to destroy the universe. And that's it. There's nothing else to this guy.
The Dark Elves, where I'm like, are there light elves?
There don't seem to be.
This one also had probably the biggest Masters of the Universe vibe.
Yeah.
In any movie that's come out in recent years. Even more so than the first one.
Yeah. When we saw Asgard the first one, it was pretty much a straightforward kind of medieval fantasy setting, and here we get to see it more as a magical, technological place. We see guys with rocket launchers.
Yeah.
And the Dark Elves all have their flying alien glider craft.
Yeah, it's trying to get their rocket-powered canoes.
Yeah.
That was nice. A lot of people give her crap, but I like Darcy. I'm going to say it. I think, she's comic relief done right, and, manages to remind us how, this is weird, and we all know it's weird.
I suppose you can make the argument that they kind of, by what you just said, she's sort of like an audience surrogate, even though Jane Foster works perfectly well for that.
Yeah.
Even if she is a smart person. But I think my favorite Jane moment is when she's at the Asgardian healing table with the Borg Queen there.
Yeah.
And she says, is that a quantum field generator?
It's a soul forge.
Oh, does the soul forge transfer molecular energy from one place to another?
Yes.
And then she turns to Thor and says, like, quantum field.
It did kind of annoy me that their plan involves Malekith drawing the ether out of her. And I'm like, are we not worried that could kill her? Because Malekith is definitely not concerned with her safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to destroy the universe, including her, so whatever. But, he managed to draw it out of her, and she's fine after that. The best part of the movie is undoubtedly Loki when taking on different forms, and then finally Captain America.
Yes!
With his little cameo.
Yes!
You can feel the righteousness.
Yeah, and it's even better if you've seen the outtake on YouTube where they shot Tom Hiddleston just doing that scene in the cap suit, which then Chris Evans has to mimic.
The thing I didn't like about this movie is how Eric Selvig has wound up in the loony bin pretty much. I mean, after everything he went through in the Avengers, it seems like S.H.I.E.L.D. would make sure he gets taken care of.
Yeah.
Because, he was working on their very important projects.
Once the third act starts and, the convergence begins, he immediately throws away all of his meds. Like, he's cured. Like, just like that.
Alright.
Doesn't have to detox or anything like that.
Yeah. Your brother isn't coming, is he? But Loki is dead. Oh, thank God. I mean, I'm very sorry to hear that.
We also get Thor hanging his hammer up on the coat.
Yeah. I was like, oh no, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And it was nice to have Thor have his powers for the entire movie.
Yeah,
although,
you can do that.
Kind of like Captain America now means he doesn't have much of an arc. His arc in this movie is all about his relationship with Loki and with his father, which take on some interesting new turns.
Yeah, so I don't mind, going into superhero sequels, I don't mind them not having much of an arc, because I had to sit through 4 Batman movies where he goes through pretty much the same arc every time, where he meets a woman who might be the love of his life, and then has to deal with, what it's like having a secret identity and trying to remember his origin story. I sat through 3 Spider-Man movies where he goes through pretty much the same arc over and over again with Mary Jane. So I don't mind. I'd rather just, okay, what supervillain are we fighting this week? That's how it is in the comics. I'm fine with that. I don't mind that he doesn't. I don't mind that he doesn't have much of an arc. I think giving superheroes an arc every time kind of makes these movies worse.
Yeah. So now the roles between Thor and Odin have kind of reversed, where Thor wants to think things through. Odin's ready to go down in a blaze of glory. Kind of an interesting reversal there from the first film.
Yeah.
But it also means that we have to kill somebody, and then ends up being a Frigga, which not cool.
Yeah.
Frigga is this figure in Norse mythology, and we're just going to kill her so that our male heroes have motivation.
Yeah.
That's bleh. Whatever.
Also, on the subject of interesting reversals, we now have Jane is now the fish out of water because she gets to hang out in Asgard.
Yes.
Whereas in the last movie, Thor got to hang out on Earth.
And I'm sure her friends at S.H.I.E.L.D. will have any questions for her when she gets back.
But S.H.I.E.L.D. won't be around much longer, but that's for later.
They definitely stepped it up with the action scenes, so that was nice. Where, you know, they have the whole attack on Asgard, that was very harrowing, and there was the fight with, was it Curse?
Yes.
Cursed? Yeah, that guy was a beast.
It's nice. I was like incorporating minor villains into the comics as well as major villains, because not every villain has to be the major villain. Some of them can just be, just be a video game boss.
Yeah, that's how it was with the Destroyer in the first one.
Yeah.
He's in the background for one scene, and then we bring him out for the big finish, and that ends up, even though as a character he's not even really a character.
Yeah. He's just a weapon.
Yeah, but even as a weapon, he's kind of a game changer for the larger story.
Yeah.
Now he's part of that grudge match that leveled a small town.
Yes. Another element to bump up the action is the Dark Elves have these like vacuum grenades.
Yeah.
That can create miniature black holes.
Yeah.
I think there's like 4 action set pieces in this movie. There's the first one, which is Thor off in whichever one of the 9 realms, and getting to have an action scene with the whole gang there, just to get everybody warmed up. Then there's the Dark Elves attack on Asgard. Then there's the escape from Asgard with Loki. I guess there's 5, because then there's a fight with Malekith's forces off in the Dark World, the title, where they try to destroy the Ether and fail. And then there's the finale.
Yeah, the finale was really cool because, with the whole convergence thing, or like rocketing all around town. And the biggest visual for me is always just Mjolnir trying to find Thor and going up and down and side to side and all over the town before it finally comes back to him for the big final strike. Very signature Thor flourish for the...
Yeah, and it's sort of the same thing as, separating Tony from his armor for a little while and to see how he functions without that.
Yeah, my favorite bit of comedy is actually when Thor is trying to pilot the ship.
Yes, thank you for the commentary, Loki. It's not at all distracting.
But it is kind of wishing that maybe if Tony was here, he'd be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
Alright, so Thor the Dark World, not a bad movie.
Yeah, not a bad superhero movie. I suppose if you stack up all the MCU movies from worst to best, it's maybe on the lesser end.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a really good movie.
That speaks to how good the series has been overall.
Yes.
Is that something that has as much going for it as Thor the Dark World ranks in the a below average set. Next up we got Captain America the Winter Soldier.
Yes.